Dave Rothschild, photographer from Virginia, and today we're looking at a book that I made photographing in West Virginia. As you can see by the title, I made this book for myself. I traveled in West Virginia for about a month or so, a few different trips, and mainly photographed out of my car. I did get out a bunch as well, but I just wanted to explore into West Virginia more because it's a lot different than Virginia, especially the part of Virginia that I photograph. And the cover image is in a town called Moorefield, West Virginia, which is kind of one of those classic small to medium-sized towns in West Virginia that has a factory, mountain views, a bunch of homes and churches. And I pulled up to this stop sign here, and there was something about the way the FedEx truck just kind of came into the frame. The crooked stop sign just kind of tickling the top of the mountain in the distance, the power lines, and you have a little bit of it's called Pilgrim's Factory. I'm not exactly sure what they're manufacturing, but they do a lot of collaborations with farms, and so I just thought it was a compelling scene. So this is just one of those commercial print sites. I would say it's a step below blurb in terms of quality. I do a lot of these kind of one-off books just to kind of have some references of my work and just to practice bookmaking. So here's the cover image, ended up being the first image. The print size of this book each print is a little bit bigger than 4x6, I would say. I'm not exactly sure the dimensions, but just a simple layout, just the photograph and then the place below. And still in Moorefield, West Virginia, coming up to kind of a back road, coming up to more of a main road here. Again, just like the way the lines were leaning to the left, pulling you in that direction. The tree was also leaning there, kind of creating a parallel. And you got this distant barn. You got this fence there as well. So thought that image was nice. And then just kind of a classic, almost like Walker Evans-like view of West Virginia here, just with the railroad crossing and going into the distant mountainside. Again, in Moorefield, this is one of the plants. I don't know if this is pilgrims or not, but I really like just the way the tree kind of created a layer where you had the tree and then you had the stack little boxes here, or ply, I forgot what those things were called, but pallets, is that what they're called? Yeah, I think pallets. Just like the overall image, the way the branches kind of stretched out above the lines. And this pickup truck here, an oil truck, just really like the different color, I should say the kind of geometric blocking as well. And then here we have a big rig, and I just thought it was worth shooting because it had the West Virginia state map on it, and with some bike riders. And then over here it says Wild and Wonderful West Virginia. Just trying to fit the theme of, hey, I'm in West Virginia, I'm photographing in West Virginia. And again, in Moorefield, we're behind a Stop and Shop, just kind of like a little supermarket. And backs right up into the landscape. You know, that's what I like about when you're out in the more rural areas. When you go behind like supermarkets, you're pretty much away from everything really quickly. And just was drawn to this scene with some of the wet pavement, the plastic bag, and just this tree. So I like these kind of unremarkable scenes behind things. I think they're kind of like their own little cinema, if you will. And here we are in Moorefield again. This is Mount Olive Cemetery. Just like the way these crosses were on this hillside leading up to the hilltop where the tombstones were. And this is one of my favorite photographs from the book from my personal standpoint, just the way I was pulled off into this little area, and I just like how the sign here just says supply framing this small house here, the shadows, the distant mountains, the power lines, the road, just like how it came together as an image. Excuse me. And the light here was amazing, so I just photographed it. Just happened to be at this CVS in Moorfield, West Virginia. The light was just tremendous. The CVS sign was blood red. There's actually a woman here. I don't know if you can see her. You probably can't see her. She's right there. Yeah, I just like the way the light looked on that CVS. Here we are in Moorfield, still in Moorfield for a lot of the first part of the book. Just this area where there was a bunch of puddles. And you're kind of facing south and east here. We've got a Subway, Dollar General, CVS, and some houses, and just another spot in Moorfield. I'd actually photographed this tree before on a previous trip when I went to Covington, Virginia, as I stopped in Moorfield. This is like this drive-through. It used to be like a fast food joint. You can see the order thing where you used to take your orders here, but just this bizarre tree. Thought it was just a really interesting tree, and so I shot it. And then, excuse me, here we have a Walmart truck backed into the Walmart in Moorfield. Some power lines, some vines. And we're finally out of Moorfield in Mineral County, West Virginia now, and just the light was remarkable here. This house was just burnt yellow, and I just love this old growth tree slapping its shadows across the white. And the sky, as you can tell in the distance, was incredibly gorgeous. It was dark as the western sun was hitting it towards the north and the east. A similar area, not too far from that house, where we had this barn and this puddle. I like how the silo was reflecting in the puddle there. And again, the light was just what drew me. The light was amazing. I could have pointed my camera in any direction and gotten a pretty good result. And here we kind of have a classic, I would say another kind of Walker Evans-like description of something. Just the mountainside, the roadside, the valley, the light. You have this, I believe this house up in the mountainside there. I just really like the light. And I was actually on a hillside church just off the main road down there below and facing out towards the east. It's just gorgeous. And this is in Mineral County as well. And this church dates back to the late 1700s, one of the oldest churches in America, with a cemetery and this beautiful tree on this dirt road here. And it was a little bit, I think creepy is probably too strong a word, but it definitely had like a mythical feel to it. And I just thought it was an interesting place. And so I shot it. And then here we just have a little roadside house here in Mineral County, just falling to ruin. And I like the black splotches and the white door and just the overall gesture of the house. And wasn't sure exactly where I shot this. That's why I labeled it West Virginia. Got the billboards that you see all across those roads. And again, the light was just tremendous. I could have pointed my camera anywhere. I like this little path here on the right, kind of leads you outside of the frame. I like images like that where certain elements of the image graphically kind of pull you away from the subject, creating a little bit counterbalance and tension. And here we have just kind of a roadside landscape somewhere on a back road. Not sure exactly where. Excuse me. And then we've got Hardy County, West Virginia here. This old house, which I believe was abandoned, just caught the edge of the road. And then we've got Hardy County here, this Jesus Saves sign, mountainside. And Hardy County again with this cross. Someone might have passed away here into an accident, perhaps, right on this tree. I just love how that white cross was counteracting with the dark, wet bark. Hardy County, West Virginia again. Just this road sign, kind of like old antique shop. The sign just had the letter S on it, which I thought was kind of interesting and peculiar. And back in Moorfield here, driving down the road, you can see my windshield wiper. This is Pilgrims. You can see the factory smokestack and the mountain distance and the wet road. And this is Petersburg, West Virginia, just like this scene facing back towards the east of the McDonald's, the texture on the wet pavement here, the political sign, the gas station, just like how it all came together. Here we have another scene in Petersburg, pulled off into this kind of industrial space. There's a lot of like stacked coal, and the road's all jacked up. This is like this kind of muddy pit here. You can see the church and the cross in the distance is what I was kind of focusing on. And here we have a roadside church here in Mineral County. Again, I just like the way it framed up. He has risen sign, and that is the Lighthouse Community Church in Mineral County. And somewhere in West Virginia, I believe west of Romney, I just like this creekside tree dipping down below the road and the silver tones as the creek kind of drifted away into the mountains. And we're in Romney now in a cemetery, and just like how this lone white stone kind of stood out against the rest of the dark background. If I could turn the page, that would be nice. There we go. We're in a parking lot at Riley Auto Parts in Romney, and just one of those like landscapes to me that just made so much sense in black and white, just the way it framed up. And Romney as well, this roadside old house here, just off the main road. And here we have a church just to the east of Romney. It might still be considered Romney, but I just like how the parking lot kind of pulled you towards the church, even though the parking lot wasn't part of that church. And you can see the church here, Covenant Baptist. And I really like this image as well. This is in Romney, the Thank You Jesus sign leading to the shops in the background and the strip mall feel. And then the last image is this one here in Hampshire County, West Virginia. And people have strong feelings about Jesus, obviously, in West Virginia and a lot of America, but particularly in West Virginia. And they have their beliefs, and they're not afraid to show them. So anyway, that's a little book that I made here, and I plan on going back to West Virginia sometime soon. It's a beautiful place with a lot of myth and mystery, and it's quite suited for black and white. This is Dave Rothschild, photographer from Virginia, photographing in West Virginia.